Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in this video what I wanted to do was just show you how to use dev tools to diagnose CSS issues. Okay, because CSS can be pretty tricky sometimes and can lead to some confusion, especially when you have different styles that conflict with each other, or you're not sure if your style applies or things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a quick HTML file, index.html, use Emmet to generate my boilerplate. And let's just do like an H1. Actually, I'll just use Emmet. So H1 with the class of cheese. And this will just say hello. And then I'll say H1 with the class of bread with an ID of Y. Okay. Cool, and it's just going to say goodbye. And then let's just create a style tag so we can write some CSS right here in the HTML file. So first I'm going to open this up in Live Server. So open with Live Server. Let me go bring that over here. So there's the hello and the goodbye. We see the two H1s. Okay. So now, of course, if I were to target H1 and say, hey, I want to style, make sure that each H1 is green, I do that and see both. Where did I go wrong there? Oh, color, green. There we go. And see, now they're both green. Now here's a cool thing. If I look in DevTools, I can use this tool right here to select an element from the screen. So I want to select an individual, this H1 right here. So I choose the H1. Okay. And let me just make the screen a little bit bigger. You see the section over here, see styles. Right here lists all the CSS styles that apply currently to that H1. Okay, with the highest priority one. So the heaviest one is this H1, and I can see that this H1 style is coming from my index.html. That's where that style is defined. So I can see like what is giving that style, and I can see what files it's coming from. Okay, so that's really helpful because I can see like which styles are applying. But what happens when you have more than one thing that applies to the same thing? So again, this H1 also has the class. This one has a class of cheese, the hello one. So what if I try to target that one? If I do .cheese to target the class of cheese, and I say color red. Now notice, see, its color changes to red. But let's see what we see in here. So now notice, cheese is now higher on the list because the way this is listing it is listing with the highest weight, aka the highest specificity. So even if you don't know how all the specificity scoring system works, you know which one has a higher weight because it's higher on the list. So anything that's higher is going to have a higher weight. So since these both define color, this one wins. So this one, and that's what that crossed out line means. It means, hey, this style is targeting this thing, but there's a heavier weighted style that is taking priority. Okay, so what I can do is I can sometimes see here and be like, hey, why is my thing not red, or why is my thing not green? I can see, hey, look, it is getting my style of green, it's just being prioritized, it's being overridden by this one. Okay, so I can see, hey, like this, it got crossed out here, and what's crossing it out should always be above it. Okay, because again, the higher up this list, the higher. And then down the bottom, here we're getting into like the default stuff. So you see this like user agent style sheet. Those are like the default styles that are built into the browser. So in that case, like these styles, these things are built into the browser. Okay, if you were using Bootstrap, it would say like Bootstrap or Materialize or whatever. If you're using some sort of other system. So you can kind of figure out how to target things and prioritize things by looking down this column. Now, let's say I did this. Okay, I want to do h1.cheesy. Okay, and well, this is the tag and the class, so that should have a higher weight than just cheese by itself. Okay, now if I put in color blue, now take a look. Wait a second, I expected this to be blue because I expected that new style to have a higher weight. So I take a look to see what the problem is, and I don't even see that style here. I don't even see it listed. So this is a sign that I did something wrong. Something is wrong with my selector because it's not even being applied. Even if it's being crossed out, it's not even being applied. So then I can go back to my code and I realize, hey, look, the issue is that I spelled the class name wrong. The class name isn't cheesy, it's cheese. So if I fix that, I can do cheese and see that becomes blue. And I can see, hey, h1.cheese, has a higher weight because it's a tag and a class, not just a class by itself, or not just a tag by itself. It's both. I'm saying a h1 with the class of cheese. So that, since that is more specific, that has a higher weight, so it overrides the cheese, it overrides the h1. Okay. Cool. Now, what if for some reason I just arbitrarily really want this red one to take priority, even though this one technically should take priority? Well, what I can do is I can put the word important at the end. I generally would avoid this if you don't have to. If you can just figure out a way to get it prioritized, do that. But when all else fails, especially when you're working with like Bootstrap or Materialize or Bulma, and they have all these styles that might be just kind of hard to figure out. Again, you'll see it all here, so you can kind of figure out what is giving each style and then create your own style that prioritizes or like is more specific. But when all else fails, you can always use the important tag and see that's gonna prioritize it over that. Okay, so even though technically this one should be the winner, this one should take priority, it's more specific, so it's higher up the list. Even though it's higher, I can still override that. But basically the idea is this. By using this little container right here, so I can select an element using this. I can select an element from my DOM, take a look at which styles apply to it in their order of priority to see what is overriding what, if a style that I think should be applied to it is even being picked up on. Okay, if I don't see it listed in here, then that style is not applying to that thing. Then I fix that. And then if it does apply it, maybe there's some other style somewhere else that's overriding it, and I can see specifically what style is overriding it and what document is it coming from. Okay, all by looking at this, and that makes life a lot easier. The other really cool thing you can do here is you can see the box model. So I can see if I highlight a particular one, I can see that this H1, that's its height and width, or width and height. And I can see it has no padding, no border, no margin, or has a little bit of margin because that's built in. I think that's coming from here. Yeah, you can see like there's some default margin built in. But I can see its block model, so I can get its dimensions pretty easily there, which is pretty nice. Okay, so those are some low-hanging fruit when it comes to working with CSS. You can also edit things here, toggle off class styles here, which is pretty nice. But yeah, that's the basic gist. So hopefully you find this helpful. My name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. And make sure you go check out devnursery.com and join the Slack and Discord community. I'll see you all later.